All right, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. It is 12:31. I want to make sure we get started as close on time as possible. There were some people that always kind of join right as we hit 12:30, so I want to give everybody the opportunity to get started with us. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to TitleBox a little bit. I appreciate you being here, and I really appreciate your time in coming. Obviously, you're going to hear a lot about TitleBox. We're an innovation and agency, title agency operations, and we've been helping title agencies really change the way it feels to run their businesses, lighter and easier and faster, less expensive. And we look forward to helping and working with some of you too. And we want you to learn something, whether it's about TitleBox or not, learn something about agency operations that we can help you with today and make this time valuable for you. That's definitely important. So 2020, how about it? We're wrapping up the year here. It's almost over, and it has been a crazy one. We don't have to even mention that. We all know. We've had to adapt to so many things so quickly. Obviously, Zoom meetings and not meeting people in person, and our day-to-day routines and curbside pickup and buying everything online. And in the title insurance business, in the title agency business specifically, the volume at times this year has been overwhelming. We've really seen an acceleration or an exaggeration of a lot of trends and a lot of things that were happening anyway, not just in title, but certainly, yes, in title. And the dust might just start be settling for you and leveling off in volume. But to be perfectly honest with you, that's not what it feels like. I mean, this is December, and December usually has a seasonal element to it. It does not feel the same this year at all. Things are continuing to be, quite busy for a lot of title agencies across, and everyone's kind of buckling their seatbelt for what they prepare and expect to be a busy time, come mid and late January as we get back into a regular season upswing. What have we learned through this year that's exaggerated all these things? Well, we all know one thing. Everybody nods their heads, and I can't see you folks, but I'm sure that many of you will nod your head when I say it's difficult to recruit and hire people. And that's a key. That's one of the many things that's key to what we're talking about here. It's difficult to recruit and hire people in title. This is a very subject matter deep, experience based trade, really. Somebody referred to it as a white collar trade recently. Important experience that needs parts of the title process or a specialized talent pool. And this pool has been diminishing in size. It's been getting smaller and smaller for some time now, before 2020, before this year, for sure. But this year particularly, I mean, you can feel, the pool of humans who have deep experience in title getting smaller. You can feel it almost by the hour. It's getting smaller. And obviously prediction, we're done predicting things, the predicting the ups and downs, what's going to happen next month. It's gotten just noticeably harder to do that. Do you need to staff up? Have you staffed up too much? What about if demand goes down a little bit? Are you overstaffed with over fixed cost? Will it spike back up? Will demand come back? When? How do you manage it? It's just become a handful. These challenges, like I said, they've been coming for a long time, and they aren't going away. The craziness of 2020 really just revealed them, and they made things that were already happening kind of move a little faster, perhaps. But that's the big open secret about 2020. All this stuff was really happening anyway, and now it's happening faster. So how do we adapt? How do we position ourselves to operate the best company we can, the best delivery to our clients, the best management of our costs, best profitability, the best management of our time and resources, right? And that's really what we're going to talk about today. Costs are obviously a big part of it, managing the most profitable business, but also just being able to manage it, scale it, and handle it. So who am I? Very briefly on, who I am and why you're listening to me. My name is Matt Einhaber. I'll always break that out. I've lived my life with people tripping over that. It's okay. I've been in the industry for, it says 16 years. It's really been probably more like 18 or 20. I owned a title agency that I started and built from the ground up and ran for about 15 years. And so that's enough about me. Let's dive right back into the problem and talk about what the issue is. So I'm sure you're familiar with the term scalable in terms of a business, right? But scalability isn't just for high growth tech companies. Running any business with scalable practices enables you to run a profitable business no matter what the weather and move up and down the peaks and valleys of volume effortlessly, fast, and stay profitable throughout. There are many, many things we can learn from the best run businesses big and small, and take bits and pieces and apply it to their own business. We're running the best version of a company we possibly can. The title company is a very tough business to create any sort of, quote unquote scale. It's very dependent on experienced people knowing their craft. I mean, let's face it, the way that title companies operate, particularly when it comes to title clearance more than anything, you hire people who know what they're doing, and you just, you give them the runway, you give them a desk and pen, and you tell them to do their job. A ton of the work continues to be manual in this industry, and it needs deep experience. You may have software to help you organize and create CDs and build your HUDs and reconcile your escrow accounts. But when it comes to title clearance, managing the debts and liabilities against real estate, which is how I really like to look at that, you get your search and now you have a list of to-dos and you have to do something about it. And those activities are not client facing. Those activities, you are clearing title. It is core, I can make an argument that it's literally the purpose of a title company. Examination, the logistics around that process, are core to what a title company does. It doesn't touch customers, and it remains to be a very manual process where you're reliant on human beings who just have a ton of experience. That's how it's been done in the industry, in agencies big and small, big operations, sophisticated ones, and little ones as well. These experts are in short supply, like we talked about earlier. That supply is getting smaller and smaller. Even when the volume kind of settles up to any kind of normal level, this problem isn't going away. It's only going to get worse. This is a problem we've seen coming for a long time. And 2020 and the events of this year have really just kind of poured gasoline all over it. In the title business, you can teach a good, smart person how to build a CD or a HUD. You can find and hire great personalities to do settlements, funding, recording, policies. Those are much simpler. It's all very teachable. It's much more teachable. But when it comes to clearing title, it's extremely hard to train and almost impossible to train quickly. Clearing title is basically, reliant on people with years and years of experience. And not only that, it's geographic experience. Someone can know a lot about New York, but know nothing about North Carolina, or even a neighboring state like Pennsylvania, which happens all the time. It's very, very limiting, and it's a very, very small pool of people. So over the last decade, the amount of time, this is another huge, huge thing. If you've noticed, and if you've been in this industry for long enough, over the last, I'd say about decades, 6 to 12 years or so, the amount of time and focus and resources, which is really your time, that it takes to manage the settlement services part of your business versus the title clearance and title insurance part of the business has grown exponentially. It's gotten way more time consuming. When I say settlement services, what I'm really talking about is the stuff that your clients see and feel and touch, right? Preparing and conducting settlements, communication with them as you build the CD and build the HUD and lead up to settlement. Of course, settlement itself and scheduling and funding and escrow and disbursement. But most of that settlement services time and energy lives in the lead up to settlement, right? Building your CD. Communicating with parties, lenders, buyers, sellers, agents, whomever, as you lead up and build the CD. Those things are customer-facing activities, and they take more time now by far than they took, 10 years ago before TRID, before CDs, before lender platforms, before, all of those things. There was no disclosure tolerance, having quote engine software, right? There's all these elements to the business that just didn't exist 6 or 10 years ago. Every lender has their own platform for trading information about CDs. You got to log in different places. Technology's really enabled everyone to want everything, now. There's way more email communication now than there was years ago. Email's gotten much, much more noisy, you turn around, you're doing this webinar, you're going to go back and there's going to be, 10 emails, 20 emails. I don't know how many. Sometimes I've done that. And there's been 80, in a span of an hour or whatever. Everything's much more urgent. And so you need more people to deliver service that customers and clients are happy with, that they actually see and feel and touch, not less. And when you're buried in title clearance issues regarding search, issues regarding title clearance, managing that and leading up to being ready to get clear to close, that's stuff that doesn't touch your clients. It's not what we like to call ROI activity, right? Or return on investment activity, because you're not touching actual clients. Your team is constantly aiming and shooting at multiple moving targets. At the same time, they're juggling fireballs, right? All these emails, breaking down packages, responding to fires. Everyone's problem is urgent to them, right? Of course, keeping up with policies, you name it. These are all the things that you should be laser focused on, right? When you're building those CDs, when you're communicating with clients, those are the settlement services functions as much as they, seem like they're operations functions, and they certainly are, but you're touching clients and it's an opportunity to take care of them, to service them well, to earn more business, and if you're not extremely responsive to your clients leading up to settlement, obviously you're going to feel that. You're going to pay for that. And when you are, you're also gonna reap the rewards of that. You're gonna know, and your business is gonna be able to grow. So all those pressures on settlement functions have title companies running hard and focused more than ever before on that stuff. And it's not getting easier, but you still have to clear title. Going back to that, remember, you still have to make sure there's no debt against the real estate and manage the risk, judgments, liens, bankruptcies, open mortgages, the chain of title, check the legal. There's all of these things are very time consuming and require a very experienced eye. To date, there really have not been any systems for this, for clearing title. Even in the largest, most sophisticated operations, they hire experienced people, they give them a pen and a desk, and they basically hand them files to clear, and that's it. But finding those people, like we said, is getting way, way harder. So no wonder it can feel like it's a lot. Growing a title company, making money in this business is a really hard thing to do. I talked to somebody the other day, and she said, we should be able to have regular jobs where you come in at 9 and leave at 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever it is. And that's just not the industry. And that's a real challenge. And, we're challenged with that this year more than ever. So all of this is why TitleBox was born. Let's dig into that a little bit. Once upon a time, I ran my own title company, and we felt all of these challenges. I started and built and ran a title company for about 15 years. In the very beginning, everyone had their own process that was dependent on the strength of that person handling it, much like agencies run, right? We didn't have a whole lot of visibility into what stage our files were at any given moment inside of just that they were in clearance or post search or whatever, what our people were doing or how they were doing it, minute to minute or up to date in a way that we could really digest easily. Title companies often feel more reactive than proactive about files in the pipeline, right? They have time to address them when they're closing soon or when they become a problem or in whatever order is closing next. So, honestly, we felt that we were overworking. A lot of the time we were working at capacity and we felt that way. And we spent a lot of time running from brush fire to brush fire. And I think that's what it feels like a lot, but things change and it does not have to be that way. It can be consistent and beautiful. And you can hire good people that don't have to have 10 years experience in title and be able to grow and scale up and down with a lot more ease. Focus most of your time on the things that touch your clients that will get you more business, that are a little harder to measure, but they will absolutely result in more business. And we know that from all of our clients. So let's talk about exactly how we do all this, right? This is now the favorite part. First, the special sauce. So really what we did was we built all this data and information for every title clearance scenario possible, so that the answer to everything was at everyone's fingertips. People would walk into me in my agency and say, hey, I have a problem. Can you help me out with this? And I'd say, sure, what's the issue? And I sort of would back people up and say, well, what state is it in? What county is it in? Question number 2. What's your issue? Is it a lien? Is it a judgment? Is it a bankruptcy? Is it an open mortgage? Is it a divorce? What's the situation? Is it an HOA situation? Whatever. And we would funnel this down and then, okay, here are rules that apply to that scenario. Can we remove this based on the fact that it's out of time, or based on the fact that it doesn't apply because it's a judgment and it's only against one person, and in this particular state or in this particular area, it doesn't attach to married couples and that's how they own the property or whatever. So we apply these rules, and if those rules don't apply and we can't remove the item, then we have to take an action step and actually do something. These things are the time-consuming things and the things that you're really relying on these experts to do. So we built this very, very comprehensive database. The truth is we began creating this for ourselves. To use in our own title agency and build a much better operation. But it was so effective and so good, I really saw this data could be turned into a tool that title agencies can use to transform their business and solve some of their real problems that I saw building. This was several years ago. So in 2018, we started building, and in 2019, we released TitleBox data as a subscription so title companies could use it and access this data and information. My ambition was to evolve this into a more actionable software that could actually help clear title issues, for title companies by them using it. Along the way, after talking and meeting with easily over 1,000 title companies. We knew we were certainly onto something, and we were solving a problem that a lot of people were having a real pain with. I also learned that title companies were overwhelmingly telling me that more than the software, they wanted a managed service. They wanted someone to just do it for them, much like they do with search, right? You order a search and it comes in, you've got data and a report, and you have to push a couple buttons. Hopefully it's easy for you to merge into your software and you've got what you ordered. Companies came to us and asked that we use our own engine of information and create a way to actually clear title for them. So that's effectively what we did. And so we kept it purposely limited at first, just a few clients for about a year, to really shape the thing up and figure out how to deliver, because there's some key components we have to be able to communicate everything that's going on in the file in real time with you without the noise of email or calls or going back and forth. You need to be able to snap your finger and see everything that's going on in a file or in all of your files in seconds, and it's got to be clean and easy. So there's some technology delivery there. We've had to build and shape the data and grow the data that I mentioned. This in this industry, technology around this kind of delivery is a hybrid. There is no, wave a magic wand, there's a technology answer. I think a lot of people hope for and want that. The truth is, it's a mixture of human beings that do have that experience, that are doing as little administrative work as possible and as much decision-making work as possible, using as much guidance, and then the technology delivery so that you get the information, the communication as clearly and easily as possible. We add real value for title companies and make a real difference in your operation and in your business. And that's kind of what we spent time building. So this is just a screenshot and an example of the categories of title clearance, right? Start to finish TitleBox clearance for title agencies. That's it. That's what we become. That's what TitleBox is. We are a full service title clearance engine. We work from search to settlement statement. When your search is complete, you can see and know what's happening with your files every step of the way while reducing your email noise. When we're done, you can pick up a file cold, sometimes never having seen it before. It's often the case. And know very quickly and easily and accurately what you need to do to build your CD and go to settlement. And all of the things that we learned through the clearance process are communicated. And that big log jam in the middle that requires experience and depth and takes time and pulls away from your team servicing your clients is just delivered right there to you using a mixture of our data technology and our human beings as well. Your pipeline is proactive when it's in TitleBox. There's no more scrambling. There's no more waiting until it's scheduled or until it becomes priority. Files are being cleared and prepped while you're doing other things, while you're talking to your clients, primarily, and hopefully, and that's what ends up happening by default for sure. And you're spending more time with clients, which has a positive result for you. But at the end of the day, these things come in from search, and we are very quickly moving them and pushing them forward to getting clear. So the time from search to being clear to close and ready to go to settlement is much shorter than it likely is now and that it ever was before, which means turn time, right? Your clients ask you about turn time, and that's it right there. It's a big component inside turn time. There's search time. There's other things, involved in that whole, what's quote unquote turn time, but that's a huge part of it, obviously. And this is going to speed your turn time, measurably without question. Proprietary data, technology, workflow, and humans to deliver title clearance that absolutely seems seamless for agencies. This is some screenshot view of the data itself and just how we organize this stuff, so we know how to attach information to in this particular example, it's a judgment, and move quickly. But these are human beings behind this. Your support, you're fully supported. I mean, this is really, we become a managed service and a full service solution. 100% done for you, clear title. So you can focus on growth, complete transparency at all times, and speed and managed risk. Everything we do is visible in real time. You can see everything. One of the deliverables, just to give you kind of a taste of some of that stuff. So this is our inside view of what your CD HUD checklist looks like. At the end, you can pick up a file and know exactly what you need to build an accurate CD and never miss anything. There's a lot of things that come up during the clearance process that you need to know. And, obviously, like, okay, here's your mortgage payoff and here's how much it is, or a judgment payoff or whatever. But there's things like, there's a homeowners association. Don't worry about it. We've already confirmed that you don't have to worry about it. Or, Mary Smith, the managing member, is the signer for your, seller's LLC or whatever it might be, right? Experienced people will think of the possibilities when preparing for settlement. And if you have to stop what you're doing and hunt around and, building a CD could take 45 minutes instead of 15. And so we built this really for speed. So it covers all the bases, and you can look at this and obviously supporting documentation is there. It is exportable manually or by, ways to do that in an automated fashion so that it goes right into your software as well. We deliver an experience you can see and touch any file cold, never having seen it and know in seconds exactly what's happening, and your ability to take it from there with all the knowledge as if you did the work yourself. It's all very clean and easy to read and easy to understand. So if any of this sounds like it's going to be a solution or it's worthy of talking further and learning more about for your agency and how it fits, obviously every agency is a little bit different, There are smaller agencies with just a few folks. There are larger, different softwares, different processes, different workflows. Everybody kind of does things a little bit differently. And we fit into many, many of those types of things. And we've kind of, I don't want to say we've seen it all, but we've seen an awful lot. But, I'd love to give you obviously detailed one-on-one, learn a little bit about your agency, your operation, how exactly we can help run some pricing, so we know exactly how much, based on what your volume is and what you do, what that would cost you, so you can measure that against what it's costing you now and what it's going to look like, because this is an econometric solution. This is ultimately going to make you more money in ways that you can measure and ways that are even harder to measure, like your ability to get more business. So I encourage you to schedule a one-on-one with me, and I'd love to talk with you one-on-one and learn a little bit more and not take up too much of your time, because I greatly respect everybody's time. We can kind of get right in, and now that you know the 30,000 foot view in the chat box. If you open up chat in the Zoom that you're in right now, at the top is this link right here. So you can just click on it and it'll launch a window for you. And you can schedule time with me personally directly in my calendar right there. It'll give you the times that are open, and feel free to schedule time. I'd love to meet with all of you one-on-one. And, again, if anyone has any questions, here's my personal email as well. Feel free to reach out there and engage in conversation. And I look forward to meeting and speaking with many of you. And have a great holiday season and a great, I almost said a great Friday, but I think it's a Tuesday. So have a great Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.